Let's go. Should you watch the Mario movie?
This spoiler for your review will give you some insight into that.
We'll find out if you should watch the Mario movie.
We're talking to you.
Just start talking
Yeah,
about
let's
it.
just get into talking about it.
So I definitely like the soundtrack. The soundtrack was one of the highest points in my opinion. They had a lot of good Hollywood songs and they had a lot of good Mario songs. Like they pulled from a lot of stuff.
Yeah, definitely. The soundtrack, so many good references to like super niche songs. If you're like big in Nintendo culture, this movie, it definitely was made for Nintendo fans first and foremost. Not even just Mario fans, just Nintendo fans in general.
Absolutely made
There's
for
a
Nintendo fans.
lot of references just outside of Mario.
This soundtrack had no reason to go as hard as it did. It had a lot of songs.
It had
even-
Thunderstruck.
Right, even past Mario songs.
No,
It
they had a lot of
it
Hollywood
had-
songs for no reason.
like,
Mr.
big
Blue
songs.
Sky. It had another one. I forget which one.
At
But
times, it felt like I was listening to like the Guardians of the Galaxy soundtrack.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was like really on for that one, I guess you could say.
Oldies but goodies like the whole way through.
for
Yeah.
real.
It was either Mario.
They had Take On Me. That was so fun.
Yeah, that's the one I
Hollywood.
was thinking about. Yeah. And speaking about sound, I mean, one of the things I thought was going to be like a big hiccup was Chris Pratt. It like faded immediately. They did like a little gag in the beginning that was like, oh yeah, we're Italian. And then outside of the commercial, they were like, oh yeah, we really hammed that up just to like get a lot of reviews or something like that, or like get a lot of calls. It was a good little touch they put in there to
Yeah,
like
it was
soften the
definitely-
blow.
Definitely the voice acting wasn't as jarring as the like initial cast reveal thing made it seem.
Yeah, that was
Um,
that was pretty crazy.
That was
Well, because there was all those memes around like, that's not the real voice, guys. And everyone was like, okay. Like,
yeah, and then
Yeah.
it sounded exactly like that.
right.
And
but-
with the original voices too, I think Charles Martinet, I think he had a really good cameo. He had two, I think. Should we say what he was? I don't know if that's spoilers or not.
I think just saying Charles Martinet had like
Yeah.
a cameo in
He
the
was in
movie.
the movie.
That,
Yeah.
that was a nice little touch.
He was like he did the classic "Let's go."
Yeah, he did
Ah.
his thing.
That's wholesome.
He got
The
his
one
change.
voice that I didn't fully vibe with was DK.
Yeah, I was gonna
Seth
say.
Rogen DK. It wasn't like terrible, but it was definitely the one that I was like, this doesn't really feel like DK. Like,
Yeah.
throughout the movie, like Chris Pratt kind of started feeling like Mario,
Mm-hmm.
and Charlie, whatever his name is, started feeling like
Charlie
Luigi.
Day. Yeah.
Yeah, the voice actor for Luigi. Their voices kind of melded in. Like even if it didn't seem like it at first, after a while you kind of stopped questioning it.
Yeah, it was like
Whereas-
the movie Sonic. where
Yeah.
it was like different
Yeah.
than Sonic, but you just go with it.
Seth Rogen never really meshed in with all the other guys as well as the other voice actors did.
Yeah, Michael Keegan, I still can't hear him in Toad. That's the most impossible to hear voice pick.
He did such a great job.
He
It's
did a really
so
good job, yeah.
And it's so natural for like a non like hello kind of Toad
It's
voice.
not obnoxious. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but it's still like this sounds like what a Toad should sound like
Yeah,
I'd say Toad was probably one of the best.
definitely.
as a Mario. Like,
Right.
just
Yeah. As like
As
blending
the
in.
source material, just being the source material.
I do enjoy the fact that they actually had his laugh as like a bunch of jokes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because everybody was going in like, oh, I can't wait for Donkey Kong to do the Seth Rogen laugh. And in our theaters, there was definitely a lot of uproar for the laugh.
Yeah, we had a very vocal theater. They probably clapped 4 times in the movie.
Oh yeah.
If you go to see this movie, just be aware that there's gonna be like super fans who clap at like nothing.
Mhm.
Also
and are
be
popping
aware-
off.
2 post-credit scenes.
Yeah.
There's one like really post-credit scene, and then there's one after the movie.
So we've touched on voice acting. We've touched on music. We can kind of segue from the audio to the visuals. Just like with the sound effects and the music, there was a lot from Mario that Mario fans had to like laugh with and look forward to. A lot of references to like the games and the series in general.
Even just
Mhm.
Nintendo in general.
yeah.
Yeah.
Probably more, oddly enough, more Nintendo references than Mario references. There's a really niche one that I feel like 90% of people didn't miss because it was only on frame for like half a second. The Super Famicom disc drive icon / like mascot, which only released in Japan and was only online for like a short amount of time. And that was in the shot for like half a second. And so there's a lot of like super niche, like probably watching it again, I would find more references than I thought I saw.
You
I
can
feel like I got most of them.
you can definitely feel the passion in like the directors. They want to throw everything in. They want to like make sure everything's represented.
Right.
Yeah, you could definitely
Yeah.
tell that Shigeru Miyamoto had a big role in the writing process.
Yeah.
It was very clear how close Nintendo worked
Yeah.
with Illumination on this whole thing, which
Yeah.
is kind of why it's
It's a good Illumination
standing up.
movie.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, there was a couple times where it was like, okay, that joke fell flat. Okay, this was there, but overall, it was very strong. I would
Yeah.
say, like it kind of held its own. The animation was good, and just in general, when I saw Illumination on the movie, I was kind of skeptical. of
Yeah,
Everybody was a
everyone
little
was.
skittish. Yeah.
Right, which I feel like is well founded and like
Yeah.
well represented. with
They've had a track
people.
record of pretty bad movies. Reviewers are saying the same thing about this one. I don't know if it's because we're big fans of the series or not, but I mean, I don't know. I had a lot of fun watching it, and I definitely want to see it again.
It's definitely a rewatchable with all the little like cameos and things that they have throughout the entire movie.
I would say it's probably the best Illumination movie since the first Despicable Me.
I'd say so.
Because they
too.
made the first
Yeah.
Despicable Me, that was good. And then they were like, oh, people like the Minions?
We can not try anymore. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
There was no like Minions character. There was no character that's like, blah, 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 I'm so random.
Yeah. There were some spots that was a
goofy
little bit
characters.
like that.
But there was never
Yeah.
just like the Mama Bebop Boobop character,
Yeah.
which is good. That's very welcome.
This is definitely a movie where you're going to be going in there. You're going to be like the character from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood where you're like snapping your fingers at the screen and being like, I know that
Oh,
one.
yeah.
I know that part. Yeah.
I will say there's a lot of points throughout that were like, it's almost deja vu where you're like, I've almost seen this exact image from like a game or from a game trailer or something like that,
Mhm.
where it feels almost ripped straight from something that Nintendo's produced in the past.
Yeah, it was definitely very good.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess kind of shifting more into like plot, but like it's still spoiler free. I felt like the plot was like relatively strong. It was definitely more enjoyable if you are a big Mario fan.
Yeah.
That's one thing.
It's nothing you don't expect,
yeah,
really.
It's
you
no
know?
like crazy. It's not like the Puss in Boots 2 of Illumination where it's like, wow, this movie is incredible. But it had a decent plot.
It's just a good, enjoyable family
especially,
movie. You know?
Yeah, especially if you're like if you grew up playing Mario or if you're an adult and you played Mario when you were a kid, there's still stuff that you'd enjoy.
Yeah.
100%.
I'd say it played it safe. Like it didn't do anything crazy, which is kind of good in the sense that like they're not recreating this whole new Mario cinematic universe canon that like, okay, now we've got to follow this and the game separately. Everything kind of stayed within the realm of things you'd expect and already have seen. In the same way, that doesn't allow it to go as far as something like Puss in Boots 2, where it's like, okay, this was kind of groundbreaking, niche, crazy,
Yeah, it was
blow-up
super
movie.
shocking. Like,
Right.
No one expected
Everything
it to be
was
that.
like, yeah.
Overall, just as a video game adaptation, like we could talk about that a little bit too. Like
Yeah.
it does a good job. There's bad examples.
Mortal
Ratchet and
Kombat.
Clank, I know that one was like a
Sure.
very
The Resident Evil movie.
Resident
Resident
Evil
Evil,
movies. Yes,
Detective
definitely.
Pikachu was in there.
Oh, I like
Uh.
Detective Pikachu.
But then you got stuff like Sonic, obviously, which has done really well and has performed better than people expected. For
Yeah, that was surprising.
Yes, definitely.
I think the Mario Bros. Movie had higher expectations of it than the Sonic movie did, but it did a good job of meeting those.
My one complaint with the movie, it was a little quick.
Yeah,
I wish that they
that's what I've
spent a
been
little bit more
noticing, yeah.
time on a couple of the scenes, especially in the first half.
First half went a little fast.
First half,
definitely.
things happened faster than I was expecting, 100%. Not necessarily terrible,
Yeah.
but I would have liked it to be a little bit longer.
I don't know if that's because I'm kind of more used to like the now 1 hour episodic kind of series where it's just, oh, now a series is just, 10 hours long as opposed to an hour 30. But
yeah, or like 2.5 hour long movies, because this movie was like about an hour and a half.
yeah, everything went really quick.
Right. The movie's runtime was relatively short for what you'd see from movies nowadays.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it felt quick. Time passed fast. You really didn't notice. There wasn't any like dragging scenes.
Oh.
Are we still recording?
The camera's still on. Quick look into our lives. Our freaking landlord won't come fix our power. And so sometimes our power just goes out like this.
And it's getting worse.
Oh yeah, it's slowly getting worse, but we're slowly getting closer to moving out. So it's like, You just kind of deal with it.
Make sure to donate to the Patreon, please.
Guys, we're going to go a little bit quick probably through the rest of this so that our power doesn't turn off again.
Yes.
Yeah, it's been like 15 minutes. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
We were big worried.
15 minutes of crying
This
and
time,
sadness.
this time it seemed like it was going to stay off.
All
I
right.
saw the night crawlers coming in. I was scared.
It was scary.
We would have had no defense against the demons of the night.
Big
Yeah.
topic. Do we recommend this movie?
Yeah, so should you watch Mario, the movie, the Mario Brothers movie?
I think you definitely should.
I think overall it was a
Yeah.
good movie. I
It
will
was.
say that there's a small caveat in the fact that you kind of it benefits you to be a Nintendo fan. There's like a reason that the audience score is like in the 90s for this movie, and
Yes.
the critic score is like a 55.
Critics are soulless, heartless, emotionless beings
Like us,
that can't even
yes.
play Cuphead.
We technically are critics, so yes, we are heartless as well.
There's a lot of little tiny pieces of this movie that boost it a lot.
Yeah.
But you have to be able to recognize them, and you won't if you're not already like a Mario fan or a Nintendo fan. They're all references and in jokes, basically.
Yeah,
So
and that being said, you don't have to be like a huge Nintendo fan.
Yeah.
Even if you grew up playing the NES, SNES, N64, like any
Mario
of those,
1, 2, 3.
there's stuff that'll hit you in the nostalgia.
well, everything, because like there's music cues from like Mario Kart. Like it can be basic. You don't even have to have played one of the mainline games. I don't know if Mario Kart's considered a mainline game,
Yeah.
but like
you
Mario
could've played-
Kart's something that a lot of people will like play at a party or something like that.
You
So-
could have
the
even
most
played
popular
Mario
game of all
Party or
time.
anything like that. It's just that easy.
Yeah,
you know?
Right.
If you're like a person from just a foreign country, never heard of Mario, one of 5 people probably in the world, you're probably not gonna enjoy it.
Yeah.
At least you won't enjoy it as much. The greater you are a Nintendo fan, I think the greater appreciation you'll have for it.
Yeah.
It's
If-
definitely a Sonic movie type situation where
Yeah.
it's better to know the source material, but it's not it's not recommended or anything like that.
It's not required.
Yeah, it's not required.
Like, and it's kind of hard for us to judge because we're like, oh, it's so good, but from the perspective of someone who's never done anything with Mario, like it might just be kind of like an okay movie.
The plot's
So-
safe but fun.
right?
Yeah.
If
So-
you're not a Mario fan.
That's
If-
the only thing that kind of pulls away from it is
If
that
you have kids, they're gonna enjoy it.
If you have kids, they're definitely gonna enjoy it because
Yeah.
every kid knows Mario.
it is an
Yes.
illumination.
The scientific
movie, so
fact.
definitely helps to be a Nintendo fan and to get the references. Like that will definitely make this movie 10 times more enjoyable for
100%. Yes.
a viewer.
Yeah,
So-
we definitely hate Nintendo. We don't have like a 10, 15 foot long Super Smash Brothers poster in our living room. Or
No.
We don't got to talk about it.
No,
It's there or it's not there.
definitely not. There.
Who knows?
You
And
decide.
it
You
definitely
decide.
doesn't look dope every day.
Yes, exactly.
It's definitely not our crowning achievement and our legacy.
You definitely
within this.
didn't spend $80 on it.
In short, Nintendo fans, definitely go watch this movie. If you're not a Nintendo fan, still consider it. It's a pretty good performing movie.
Yeah, if you
but-
grew up playing Nintendo, still watch it. If your kids play Nintendo,
right,
they'll have a
any
good
amount
night.
of Nintendo fan can enjoy this movie.
If you're just an internet guy, you want to see Donkey Kong with Seth Rogen's voice, definitely go see this.
yeah, if
one.
you
It's
like
gonna
Seth
be a fun
Rogen or
one.
if you like Jack Black, you'll get a kick out of their characters.
Jack Black's performance is amazing, and
He
there
probably
are
did the
some,
best.
There are some crowning moments in there that everyone's going to enjoy.
Let us know in the comments what you thought of the movie.
Did you watch it? Are you going to watch it?
Be honest.
Yeah, let us know. What did you think of us and us talking about it? How did that make you
Did
feel?
our opinion sway you?
Did you laugh? Did you cry?
Did you find
Did
this helpful, informative? What else do you want to see from these movie reviews? I told you we were going to be making more in the last one. You should. I'm looking in the comments. I'm waiting for you to.
We're
Put your 2
waiting.
cents. 2
We're
cents.
waiting.
All I'm asking for.
Come on, man.
Couldn't get yourself a newspaper from the Paperboy for 2 cents. That's all I'm asking for. It's right there. We're gonna make a motion to end with that. All those opposed can go ahead and click through for another movie review for Cocaine Bear, in case you haven't seen that wild ride yet. And all those in favor can just go ahead and hit subscribe so you can catch us in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.
Also,
Love
hit the
you.
like
Bye.
button,
Oh,
please.
yeah, that too.
And comment.
Oh, and Jack's here, by the way.
Yeah,
he
I'm
wasn't
here.
here in the last one.
Last minute introduction, real quick.